Give me just a couple more seconds. And I think we are on. Well, welcome to everybody. This is lesson 4 of the PowerApps Portals Zero to Hero. Um, Today, it is pretty much our delight to bring Ulrikke on board. Ulrikke will be presenting today. I mean, I'm still a little groggy from everything that was presented last week from Francesco, so I'm still digesting a lot of the stuff, and then we're gonna be loaded with more information today. But it's good information to have. I remember I think it was about a week or two ago, I got a call from a customer who wanted to do a POC. Essentially, it was a POC, 3 weeks worth of portals development to be done in 1 week. And then I remember looking around for the things that this customer was requesting, and I saw. I mean, it pretty much solved, I'd say, 40% of my problems that week. So you didn't even know about it. So thank you very much for all that you do for the community. Thank you for accepting our invite to present here. And the floor is yours. I mean, I'm excited about today. Yeah, take it away.
Thank you so much, Victor. I'm excited to be here too. Let me just share my screen. I'm having some trouble with my computer and my Wi-Fi these days, so sharing screen and video at the same time usually present a challenge, but I'll do my best to present to you. And if you're experiencing any challenges along the way, please let me know. So first of all, I would like to say thank you, Victor, for hosting these great events. You're a really source of inspiration, everything that you do for the community. So thank you so much. I'm thrilled to be a part of this this Zero to Hero experience. And I think it's so cool what you put together. So just a big shout out to you, Victor, for everything that you do for us. I'm still a bit starstruck to be a part of this gang, I must admit. I'm just honored to be counted as one of these superheroes for this community event. And so thank you to everyone else that is presenting and getting you guys together. I just want to say a few words about me for those of you who don't know me. My name is Ulrikke Akerbaek, and that's pretty darn Norwegian. And I understand people having trouble saying that. So for those of you who want to try, you can say Ulrikke. That's probably the best way to pronounce my name in English, Ulrikke. I come from Norway, and I work at a Microsoft partner called Skill. We're a consulting company. And I've been working with, I initially came from the SharePoint world. So I've been a SharePoint consultant making intranets for about 5-6 years before Microsoft bought ADX Studio and turned it into portals some 5 years ago. I have, my education is from multimedia, web development, and front-end development. So the portals project just fit me perfectly. And I've been in love with portals ever since, I must admit. And you know, that kind of love that comes from struggle, that's kind of like what I feel about portals, because it has been an uphill struggle from day one. And when I started, there wasn't really much of a community to talk about. So we had the guys from ADX Studio world, and we had that documentation for quite some time. But there was little else other than the documentation. So whomever we could grasp to get our hands on, I spent almost my first year talking to Microsoft, trying to get them to set me in touch with anyone that could tell me about portals. So, and that's Nick Dolman. And he was the first, and Colin Vermander was the first that I got hold of. And since then, to watch a community grow and come to life, like the one that we have today has been really an amazing journey, and one that I appreciate and want to keep alive and nourish as much as I can. So, and I was actually at Scottish Summit last year, so 2020. It was in February, late February, so it was the last in-person event that anyone in our community went to. And I got struck by that love and community feeling that I've never felt before. And I got hooked right off the bat. And I was attending that event. I had no aspiration to talk to anyone about anything. But 2020 turned out to be a pretty special year for me. So I kind of started off like the picture you see here. That's my default picture for everything. That's me on social media. It's starting to get a bit old. I don't look that young anymore, probably. And to be honest, let me just check this out right here. Oh. Most days this is what I look like, and this is probably what you see today as well. The headphones on and the glasses are missing right now, but still this is more what I used to usually look like. And, you know, home office days, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's much more hair up and cozy clothes on now than it used to be. I have a family, so I'm not an MVP, and I'm not going to be for the foreseeable future, and that's a choice that I make. I'm still going to be a part of this community, but MVP and family doesn't go well together in my experience. So that's a choice that I made, especially since we got this one 3 years ago. I don't stand a chance. So this is stuff that I do whenever I have the time. And I have so much in my mind and my backlog that I want to share with you guys, but time doesn't cover it. And so that's why I'm so grateful for Victor and your initiatives. That really forces me into taking time to do these things. So that's part of why I do this. I like to stay fit, and I'm a spinning instructor and I run. And then I also host community events in Norway. So I'm a leader for one of the biggest community events we have in the Microsoft sphere in Norway. It's a competition as well, and we won in 2020. So I'm excited about that. And 2020, actually, like I started saying, turned out to be a very special year. Attending Scottish Summit in 2020, not thinking about going on stage, and then 2021 actually being one of the presenters for that same event. And that says something, speaks to the year that I've had as a public speaker. So this has actually become a regular thing for me during this year. I'm also hosting Up in a Day, and most of my time these last few weeks has gone to that. So if you ever know someone that wants to attend an Up in a Day Norwegian, please let me know. I'll be there. I have a blog, and you can email me if you want, if you have questions regarding this session or any other thing that I've written or said. And you can reach me on Twitter or LinkedIn. I'm quite active on those social media platforms. And yeah, just feel free to reach out. And then I realize I need to take a breath. Speaking way too fast. Please do slow me down. I can't see the chat, but I do see some faces, and I think I can see if you raise your hands. So please slow me down if you need to.
Yeah, Rick, we got you covered. Don't worry. I mean, I like the pace, love the pictures. You're doing awesome.
Thank you. That's great. All right. So today I want to talk to you about HTML and CSS. They have been my friends for 20 years, I guess. I actually started making websites. You know those old days when you had the modem that made that sound that you had to call up to get internet? Yeah, that's when I started making web pages with my dad. And that was only HTML and CSS and a file server on the internet. and you had to make it work together. And then you had a website, and they look like crap, but it was so much fun. So actually, that's when I started. So when I saw Victor propose that as a topic for me, I was like, yeah, you got it. You got it. That's me. That's my home base. That's what I know best. And I'm not sure how much you guys know. And so I thought, okay, I'll level with you guys and go not into depth, but just what it is. So HTML, CSS, I'm not going to deep dive, just give you heads up what it is and where you can learn more about it. And then I'll show you how to hook your portal up with CSS in an easy way, and then a little more advanced way, and then a smart way for you guys to work with this going forward. I'll also show you some of the Bootstrap components that we can play with and that we get out of the box, not necessarily with the starter portal or the portals that we have. They don't come with these components to choose from, but we can utilize any component from the Bootstrap 3.5 framework, and they will work simply by copying in the HTML from the Bootstrap site. So I'm going to show you that. And then also, I intended to show you Font Awesome, but then my community portal won't play ball with me, so it doesn't really work right now. So maybe I'll show you on another portal that I have. And then I'll show you the smart way to work with CSS in the future. This is really cool advanced stuff I just want you to know about. This is how I've been working for the last 4 years, and it seems very mundane for the hardcore developer, but for me, it works. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And then if we had time, I'll show you some web template frameworks that I'm using. And lastly, you're going to love that last page, that resource page, how to download all the tools that I use in my daily work. And this will really get you started if you haven't really gotten your foot in the water yet. So I'll give you links to all the tools that I use, and you can start using them yourself. So I know most of you probably have seen Franco Musso's sessions, and he's really deep diving into Liquid and all the advanced stuff. And I'm not going to go there as much, I was thinking, but I know that I gravitate towards it because I think it's so much fun. So if I'm showing you something that you really already know, then please just shout out and I'll skip that part. All right, HTML. What is it? It stands for Hypertext Markup Language, and it's the elements that you see on the web. So it will be that div tag or that table tag to tell the web page what kind of element it's supposed to render. And with those elements come certain behaviors, certain defaults. So we'll have a table, for instance. If we use that table tag, the web page will automatically think, oh, I'm going to display this as a table, and it has some inherent properties. Same with a div. So you'll have the div tag. That will actually display under each other if you say put those on a page. Inherently, if you don't do anything and you have a div on a page, the divs will just go under each other. And most don't know that because we always use frameworks, or we always start somewhere else where they float behind each other or after each other. Now that is what a span is for. That will automatically show up next to each other. So there are some building blocks, if you will, some Lego blocks that we can use and to tell the web page, the web, what it's supposed to render. Now, CSS, on the other hand, is how that element should look. So you would have that same table, and you wanted to have a border or a background color or maybe rounded corners. And then that's what you can do with the CSS. So you tell the web page what that element is supposed to look like. Give it form and styling. Please go and read some more about these if you're interested in where it comes from and what it can do for us. And then we have the Bootstrap framework, which combines these two. So this is from the Bootstrap website. Bootstrap is the most popular HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, JS, framework for developing responsive mobile-first projects on the web. So they provide, in the table instance, Bootstrap team has created a table with some classes that have styling in the Bootstrap style guide, so to speak. So if we go to the Bootstrap page and we copy that table and we put it into our portal that already have the Bootstrap styling, it will look like a Bootstrap table. Now I thought I would show you look at all these. I'm sorry. All right. So let me show you this real quick. Now, this is not the latest version of Bootstrap. So there are, because I'm in the portal world, I don't really no longer know what version there is. All right, okay. But we, in the portal world, we're on 3.3.5. That's the documentation that we need to follow. I know it says on the Microsoft page it's a 3.5, but this is the one that is used. I'll give you the links in my notes later. So bootstrapdocs.com and the version number. This is where you will find at the top the components that we can use. So these are all available for us in our portal. So there is an icon set that you probably have seen if you have a portal. For example, these right here. We have some drop downs, menu items. You know, there's details like the divider. And when I click down here, you will recognize the look and feel of these items right here. So you recognize this from the portal. This is the out of the box, what it looks like, more or less. Now we have the ability to customize these in numerous ways. But this is a great starting point. So you don't have to imagine everything from scratch. You get the starting point that you can work from. But it also means that something that Franco Miso and I have talked about before in some podcast, if you've seen that in the Refresh the Cast podcast, people often want a portal not to look like a portal. And this is what they mean. So they want a portal that doesn't look and feel like a default Bootstrap portal. But these are some components that we can use just by simply copying this and pasting it into our portal. And it will look more or less like this. And as you can see, we have a Jumbotron, we have this page header. These thumbnails look pretty sleek with that hover effect and the rounded corners. And you have a thumbnail with the title, description, and some buttons. And these are all things that we can use in our portal. So for instance, if I were to go in and select copy, let me see if I can find my portal. right in here. No, I need to select some more first. All right. Here. I'm completely lost. What happened? Come on. There we go. I think I can do this right. All right, I'll do this the foolproof way. Show you the tools later. All right, so I have this page right here. This is a web template that I have on my page. So what I'm going to do now is create a new web template that have that exact code on it. And I called it Happenings 1. And I'm going to create a web page. And that I can actually do from here. I can use that template on my portal. Oh, this is very slow. I'm gonna kill my camera just to see if it helps. Doesn't really look that good, does it? So let's do.
Hey Rick, sorry to interrupt you. Is there any way you can make the browser size a little bigger?
Sure. For telling me I can.
It's perfect. Yeah, that's good.
All right, I'm gonna show you in detail what's going on. Just want to see this work first. Going completely off what I thought I was going to do. So unfortunately, these pictures doesn't really look all that good. But what I had when I started was an empty page. So I can just have an empty page template that will render on the page as empty. It's completely empty now. And I can copy these elements from the Bootstrap framework. So I'm cheating a little bit, and I grab all the elements. So I could go in and choose to copy this text, and I can put it into my page, and I can save it. And then I can reload my portal, and I will get elements that look like the same elements. As you see, you have the buttons, you have the title, you have the description, and you have the image, and they are next to one another like this. So this is just to exemplify that you can go and grab these elements from the page, just as they look here, and then you can paste it into your portal, and they will look more or less like this. So if you have special theming, the colors may be off and you maybe have a bigger font size or something. But you will get where you can start from. So then you'll have the rounded corners and everything. So I just wanted to show you this. They are grouped. You can see, you can click on the right-hand side here, or you can scroll through them all. So these are some of the components that we can use. And if you want a deep diver, if you want to dive deeper, you can also go into the CSS on the top and see, for example, tables. So this is a little more advanced, and you can see all the things that you can do with tables. So when we work with the portal like we do, tables are important. There are a lot of lists and a lot of forms. So, and you also have a section on forms. What you can do, how you can change the values and the properties of an input field, for instance, and how you can manipulate that CSS to get what you want. So please, if you want to get somewhere quick and just pull something together before you style it, have a look at this and utilize this, and don't make everything. I think my point being, don't make everything from scratch yourself. It's much better just to have somewhere to start from, and this is a great starting point. So that's what I want. That's what I'm getting at, and especially these responsive utilities, very important, because the Bootstrap framework is actually mobile first, as it says, and that means that it was actually developed for mobile first, and then it was adapted to be for a desktop or a PC afterwards. So it is actually made for mobile, and you can keep it that way by using these classes on your elements to make them responsive as well. Responsive being that the page will automatically change, the elements will rearrange and fit to your screen when you go into mobile view. So this is the responsive part. All right, so the next thing that I want to show you is called SAS or SCSS, which is a smart way to write CSS. And you have a full Bootstrap for SAS installation that you can do. It requires some development skills, I would say, just setting it up. But for those of you who are advanced, this is something that I really encourage you to do. It's a very smart way to write and work with CSS for the future. So, and I'll nudge into that later too if we have time. So, lots to look into here. And then, of course, working with CSS and HTML, the w3schools.com is a great resource for both HTML and CSS. So here you can find all the properties, all the things that you can do. For instance, you can have both a background color and an image. You can set how that image should repeat or not, how the attachment should behave, what position it should have, if it should be fit or cover, or a lot of properties that it can have. So if you're unsure of what's possible with an object, or maybe you want to see what you can do with text color or text transformation, for instance, this is a great way to start. Just browse through these and see what pops up, or you can just search, use the search in here to search for whatever you want to do. So that's also a great resource for you. Right, so before we dive into the more advanced stuff, I want to show you some small, smart things that I've discovered over the years. For instance, so just to give you some context, this is a portal that I've been working on for 4 years for a customer. And I actually display this in Fall into Portals this October 2020, and had actually an hour just going through it and pointing out all the work that we've done and how we created this portal. And it's a beast. And it's like any 3-year-old. It has its moments. It's defiant and it's not behaving like I want it to all the time. But when it's working, I love it to death. So this is my baby. I do take criticism on it as well, so feel free. But some of the smaller things in a portal, it's really somewhat hidden away, but you can get some value from it. So when we have a form like this is an entity form at its core. And we've set some styling, we've put some styling on it. And on the bottom here, you see these buttons, and they look kind of different from your default buttons. Now, what this actually is just CSS on the form properties. So if we were to look on this, look at this form from the Portals management app, which I'm taking for granted that you are familiar with the portal management app and that you know what an entity form is, or should I say basic form, which it will be called in the near future. So what we have here is a basic entity form, but on the additional settings, we have some action button configuration. And if you're making sure you check this advanced setting button and refresh the view, you will get some more configuration options. So for instance, you can put a top container CSS class for the form, or a bottom container CSS class on the bottom. And if you, like me, have some button actions, for instance, I have a workflow that's triggered, and that's actually the remove button. That is triggering a workflow that, again, is triggering a flow that removed this element from Dataverse. If we scroll down here, you see on my button label, I have actually an icon before the remove text. So this is something you can do if you want to make the buttons come a little more alive. So, and it's smart in terms of usability and interaction design. So the eye recognizes shapes and color much easier than text. So by adding an icon, a shape, and a red color, my users will much sooner, much quicker identify this as a remove or delete option than it was if it was green or blue. Make sure to check your culture, where you come from, where this portal will live, your users, before you make decisions regarding both color and icons. They are not universal, not by any means. But if you know your users, then you can use them with ease. So first of all, this remove button has this icon before it, and we'll look into that, how you get those icons later. And then when I move down here, you see that I have the button CSS class, which I have added some classes to. So in this case, it's a button, and it's a button LG. That's from the Bootstrap framework. That's button large. And then I have button danger. That's also from the Bootstrap framework. and I'll show you. So if we go into the Bootstrap page once again, and I go into buttons, you'll see the same kind of CSS. So you have the button, and if you have the button default, it will just be like a normal button. Now you can add button danger, and you have the red color. And for size, you can add button large. Now this is a very small thing, but it can have a great impact if you have a lot of forms, a lot of choices, and you want your users to identify options faster. So that's just one of those things that I was so happy when I found out, and I use all the time. And so I thought it would be great takeaway for you. Now, these icons. So with the portal and with the Bootstrap framework, you have a set of icons, but they don't look that good, I think. So there are multiple icons libraries out there that you can use, and I have a favorite, and that's Font Awesome. So you can go to fontawesome.com. And you can create a free account, and you can get access to all the free icons that you see on this page, and you can add them to your portal. Now, these are much more cool looking, and you can also style these with background or colors or borders or whatever you want. These are actually fonts. So the web page will render these as letters. And so you can do with them whatever you can do with letters, with text. And that's pretty cool. So for instance, there are a lot of arrows that we use in user interfaces all the time. And you can see you have a range, a wide variety that you can use, even a carrot. That's AI for you. Now, to get this onto your page, what you need to do is what I have done, and I've just done it. If I can find back to where that was. Right. So many programs. So what I did is I created a new account. And when you do that, you actually get this code that you can put on your project. So what you need to do is just copy this this script tag or this reference to this file. And it has a button here which should show me where to put this. And this you should put in the header of your portal. And then you can use it, and you will recognize this little snippet right here, this little tag. You'll recognize this. This is what I did on my form. So then you can use this kind of this E tag all over the place with different references to different icons. So where do you get to the header in a portal? Now, when I first started out, that was $1 million question, I must say. And it's actually, in fact, one of the most sought after questions. So what I can show you is some content snippets. And this is actually really interesting. So let me just switch environment right here. Yes. Out of the box, you have one set of content snippets, and you have one set of site settings that you have here on the left-hand side. These are by no means the full extent of the content snippets or the site settings that you can have. So there are heaps and heaps of additional site settings and content snippets that you could add that doesn't exist out of the box that would give you some benefits, and that would do certain things. And I think I have the link in one of my blog posts, and I can get that into my presentation later, where you can find the full overview of all the site settings that you can have, and some of the hidden content snippets that doesn't exist out of the box. For instance, you have the head / bottom. And if you add this content snippet, you can add code like this, for instance, that is linked to a Clarity, a Google Analytics kind of script. Add this to the bottom of your portal page. Same, if you add the head / fonts, you can add scripts that will be added into the header of your portal. So this is where I put my Font Awesome link. And I also have a Google font here that I wanted to add. And if you were to, if you had a huge CSS somewhere in a cloud, maybe a blob storage or some other storage that wasn't a web file in your portal, you could add this here. If you found a great JavaScript or jQuery carousel, you know, those where you flip images, you can, and they wanted you to add this link to a jQuery or JSON JavaScript file, this is where you could add links to those external files. And we'll go into the portal, and we'll use, I know that Franco Musso showed you this as well. If you hit F12 in your browser, or use the, I don't even see it here anymore, tools, developer tools, you'll get the inspector tool where you can see your HTML of your portal. And if we open up, I see that this is kind of small, make it bigger. So if we open up the head tag here, you will see the resources that I put in. So this is my font file. This is the Font Awesome. This is some other scripts and some other Font Awesome files. And this is, interestingly, where you will find the reference to the Bootstrap and to the Bootstrap icon library. And also, if you add additional CSS files to your portal, this is where they would end up. So if I add an additional CSS to my portal, like I have here, they will be here. So whatever you need to put in your header of your portal, use head / fonts, create a content snippet with that, where you can put that content. Make sure to choose type HTML and put it in the HTML content. And then if you have multiple languages, make sure that you have, if you need, you can differentiate what files should be loaded for the different languages. And this is also a neat way for you if you have, I know some have requirements from customers that things displayed in one language should have a certain look and feel, and then if you go into a page in another language, maybe the look and feel should be different, or colors should be different, or you need different styling. This could be a way to make that, to achieve that. So you would have a link to one CSS file in the Norwegian language, and then another content snippet for the English language with another CSS file, for instance. This could also be used, actually, if you wanted to have some sort of advanced language handling. You could have those language files added as a script, and then you would differentiate what language you would use if you have that requirement. Now, keep in mind, out of the box, share portals handles language pretty neat. So that would be a pretty specific requirement if that was something you needed. I just want to add that there is, it is possible to add head / Bootstrap. It would also add things to the header of your page. It would also add things here, but it would remove whatever Bootstrap file you have. So if you wanted to switch your Bootstrap version, for instance, that's one way to achieve that. So if you were to add the content snippet that's called head/bootstrap, you could add some custom Bootstrap files here, and you can build your own. I don't recommend doing that if you're not absolutely 100% sure that you know what you're doing, because that will actually break your portal. So with that in mind, I see that I'm kind of short on time, and I have so much that I want to show you guys. So, but fortunately, I have blog posts that will cover these next two topics. So first of all, let me just go right here. I have two actually blog posts that will show you how to create custom entity lists. So you can create, this is actually a custom entity list that we use on our my company's support portal, where I have, this is the filtering. So this is a horizontal filter. It's a custom view selector here, so you can choose different views. You have the search, you have the new case button, and then of course the list with some additional options that you can take on the case. So just to show you this in real life. So this is my company skill. We have this customer portal. It's all in Norwegian, so you won't understand a word. But this is, show you that real quick if my internet connection wants it. Right, so this is the start page of our customer self-service portal. And this is where you go to open your support cases. And this is where you get, so first of all, you have the option to choose what kind of view you want. And it will show you how many items you have on the view that you've chosen. So if I go and select all cases, there's 257 cases. And I can go in and I can choose all change requests. There are only 5. I can search and I can create a new case that will take me to the new form. I can sort. So for instance, I want to see only these. Then I can sort the list. I only want to see open ones, so I'll sort it again. No open ones. Lucky me. There's sorting, so I can sort this by title, or I can sort it by date. I can sort by any one of these actually, and I have the custom options to. I can open this by clicking on it, and then I can go back. You have the paging. This is also custom, and with this custom entity list, you have the power to use whatever HTML setup you want. So let me show you what this actually looks like on the as an entity form. So here I have a web template that is used on the very page that I showed you. It's called Unify Entity List Page with Search Bar. And it has the include Unify Entity List. And this is the only thing that I have on this page template. Now, if we look into this Unify Entity List web template, I won't go into detail. This is detailed in the blog post, but this actually show you step by step what HTML, what CSS classes you need, what kind of liquid you should have, what kind of options you can have, view list size bigger than 1. That means that if there is no views available for this list, it won't show the view selector. But if there is more than 1 view, you will have the view selector, etc., etc. Now there's a blog post about that that I will give you links to. Actually, there's 2 blog posts about that. One for the view selector liquid code, and then one for the custom entity list itself. And then I have something that Victor referred to, I think, the customize the sign-in and registration page in PowerApps portals. This is probably the most read blog post that I have. And it will enable you to create a much more vivid login page or sign-in page that come out of the box with the portals product. So, and this will actually take you step by step through what scripts you need, what content snippets you need, and the autonomy of the HTML that already exists and how you can change it. Now, in addition, because I've had so many requests, I've added what I use. So the first part of the blog post is merely to give you an idea of how you can change it. And then I got so much feedback on how can I make it exactly like yours. And then this would be the answer to that. So here you have the exact code that I use to get my page and make it look like that. So I'll link to this as well. You can go and have a look. And you can have your registration page look nice and modern if you want, just by using this. Thank you, David. I got a clap. Hooray! Always nice with some feedback. Now I've lost my presentation. I have too many windows. Yeah, so the sign-in page. So this is my community portal sign-in page. It doesn't really look all that great. We have a saying in Norway, it's the shoemaker's child, and it kind of means that if you're a web developer, your web page looks like crap, and if you're a consultancy or you have your own portal, and being a portal advocate, your portal will look like crap because you never have time for your own stuff. Always everybody else's. Okay, so actually, this is my last slide because I anticipated that I would run out of time. But I just need to show you this one thing real quick. Victor, how much time? It's 5 minutes left. Is that right?
Yeah, go for it. Whoa.
Great.
Yeah, just nail it. No, nobody's complaining, so we keep on going.
I don't think there's anybody there. Everyone just, oh my God, I went for a coffee. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so I'll just show you this real quick. Okay. So I had this debate with my husband. He's a web developer as well. So he's from the WordPress world. And he's actually a teacher as well. He's teaching web development at our local school. And we had this argument about what I should show you guys, because there is a really, really nice, slick way to do this, where you can use Visual Studio and you can have a grunt file and a build file, and it can compile and upload and check your files and do all that magic for you. But I'm not a developer, so I can't make it work because it's a lot of work setting it up. So if you have developer friends, they would probably laugh at this and say, oh, there's a much smarter way to do this. And I know. So make them teach you how to do this the advanced way. Now I will show you something that works for me. And you will not guess. It's the cutest thing. Let's see if I still have it here. And actually, I'm so sorry I didn't include the system sound, because this makes the most adorable sound I need to do this. I'm sorry, you guys, you probably think I'm the crazy lady. Okay, check this out. I include my system sound. Yes, we're up and running. And I have this app that's called the Scout app. And there's a link to where you can download it. And what you do is you have your Sass, which I talked about earlier. So you have your CSS, and that's fine. You know what CSS looks like. You have your colors and your fonts, and you have a lot of styling. And when you have a big CSS project, this can get a bit out of hand. It can become a very long document and very crazy document. So what you can do is you can set up something that's called SCSS. It lets you fragment that huge chunk of CSS into smaller documents. So for instance, what I've done here is I have a folder that's called, let me see if I can enlarge my screen a bit. No. This is the folder structure. It's just a folder called SCSS, and in here I have some documents that is underscore and then base styles SCSS, and I have loads of them, so I can divide my styling into more editable chunks. So I have one for all the buttons. I have also all my entity form edits or stylings. I have one that's for printing. If someone wants to print my portal, I want it to look good. So I have all the edits for printing here. I have the sign in one. I have variables in one. And I have one that puts them all together. And so this is just what I use Visual Studio Code just for editing. So I have the starter portal.scss no underscore that import all the other files. So this compiles and put all the smaller files together in a set order, and kind of bakes it all together into one. So so you can see I have the same files here. So this will just add all the code in the files in here in the finished product, in the finished file, one by one after one another. Then the most powerful thing with SCSS is that you can use variables. So in here, I have one file that's called variables, where I can set purple dark variable, and I can give that a color. If I wanted to change this color to green, it would change everywhere that the purple dark color is used. Now, this is really not a good example because it shouldn't be called purple dark. It should be called default color or primary color. And that's what you have down here. So what I've actually done is that I have this theme colors, and I said that the muted should be the gray light. The primary should be the purple. The secondary should be gray. And then I set these further up. What this allows me to do is if I have a customer that all of a sudden changes their graphical interface and now has a new logo color, I can go in here and I can change this one place, and all the other places that color is used will automatically be updated. This is a smart way to work with CSS. All CSS apply. I can write CSS right in here if I want. You can see an example on that. The class badge should have font weight 500. So you don't need to know all SCSS to start using this. This could start as a way to structure your CSS, for instance. And then you can add, as you mature and as you learn more, you can add more of the SCSS capabilities that you have. For instance, there are something called mix-ins that can be looked upon as functions. if you're familiar with jQuery or other program languages. You can create functions that, for instance, will create border the rounded corners and keep that in the how round or how big the rounded corner should be could be proportional to the size of the element, for instance. That's a nice mix-in. That's something a mix-in could do. You can have font sizes dependent on the width of your site. So if you're on a mobile device, maybe your font size should be bigger. And if you're on a desktop device, maybe your font size should be smaller. And that's something a mix-in could do. So there are so much potential if you just start working with SCSS. Now, if you start looking into how to compile SCSS to a CSS file, you will. I spent weeks and I didn't get it to work. So a lot of development stuff there going on. But then I found my cute little Scout app. So what I do is you have the Scout app and you set up a project. You set the input folder. That should be your SCSS folder, the folder that contain all these smaller and the big one. Then you identify which folder you want it to put the CSS file. And then it actually creates one single CSS file with all your styling compiled to CSS for you. So you write functions and use variables and work smart. And then this little app compiles that all down to boring CSS for you. And so when I make a change, I can go into my sign in and I can say, you hear that? Doot, 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 doot. It's telling me that everything's fine. I've gone through all your pages. I didn't find any mistakes. But I can do, that. Uh-oh, something's wrong. What's wrong? Oh, you can't use 20 as a color. That's not right. And then it tells me what file it is, which line it is, and it tells me what's wrong. So I can say, oh, I'm sorry, my mistake. Oh, more mistakes. And then I use a product called Notepad++. I open my starter portal CSS file. So what I do is I go into the CSS file. I choose open, edit with Notepad++. And it says it's been edited because it has been compiled by the Scout app. Do you want to reload it? Yes, I do. It reloads with all my new styles. I could hit Control A on my computer, select everything, copy, and then this is the fun part. I go to my, if I can find it, I go to my my portal. And I have my Portals Design Studio. Go into Themes, Edit CSS, Starter Portal CSS. Same here, Control everything, and then paste in, and then save. And this is actually something I've been doing for the last 3 years. It takes a little while to upload your CSS, so it's smart to make small changes in the browser and have some good work. Do know what you're doing. You don't want to be doing this 500 times a day just to make small changes. But when you have something that you want to upload to your portal and you want to compile it for a smart way, this is what you can do. Now I go into my portal. I clear my cache, of course, as you know, and then I have a refresh, and probably nothing will happen on this page. I haven't made any changes to this page in particular. But let's say that I find this purple on top to be like, this is not the purple that I want. I use my developer tool, hit F5 on the computer, use my selector tool, and I select the header. And now you can see I selected the item. It has background color purple. And you can see where the styling is coming from. But could you imagine backtracking your way from that huge 7,242 lines long CSS? No way. You would never find your way back into the SCSS file. But this has a solution for you. If I click on the starter portal CSS here now, it opens it up and it shows me that background color. It tells me which of the files it is in and on what line. So if I go into the starter portal on line 83, I will find this background color. So I go into the starter portal SCSS. It was line 83. And I can see here, it has background color, primary color. That's the purple. That's the one I want to change. Now let me see. Maybe I want it to be gray instead. I save. I'm not going to do this very often, I promise. I think probably that sound is much more adoring to me than it is to you. But I don't have to look at the Scout app, you guys. I know by that sound, it's working. So what I can do is go into my notepad. You want to reload? Yes, I do. Copy everything. Back to my CSS. Paste my CSS. Save and wait for it to load. Clear cache. I hope to God this works. May the demo gods be with me. It is gray. Just to show you that you can, by this tool and by working this way, you can actually get a real smart way of styling. Yeah, another applaud. Great. Thank you. So I'm excited about this, as you can probably tell. And I worked this way for the last 3 or 4 years, and I love that sound that Scout app, the sound that it makes, because I know I'm on the right track. And this might seem daunting, this huge set of files, but if you know CSS and you want to do it smart, this is the way forward. So yeah, that's what I wanted to show you guys. So I'm 10 minutes over. I probably more. I'm so grateful that you guys stick with me. Thank you so much. This is the resources that I want to share with you. I know there was one other resource that I wanted to share with you as well, and I will add it to this collection. And I will probably, Victor, right, share this with you guys after. Not sure really how you do that, but yeah.
I will. I have a online drive that I have placed all the lessons assets. I have an update from Franco Musso as well that I will let people know through the mailing list where to find stuff. But yeah, we are keeping everything together. A couple of things before you go, before we all go, I suppose. First of all, thank you so much, Ulrikke. I hope I got your name right. I'm trying.
Yeah, sure.
I'm trying. But thank you so much. This is amazing. It's incredible. This is I think what's his name? Nick Dolman says that he is a citizen designer, and I'm with him on that. I mean, but I'm doing better, and it's due to your work, Franco's work as well. I mean, this is a portal
Wow,
that I designed using yeah using a lot of your inside there. There's another one. I'm a good student. I'm showing this for you to see that I'm trying to follow all the advice. Yeah,
Wow, that's
it's
really
great.
great.
Yeah, great material you guys are putting out there. Really appreciate you doing that. There is one thing that I wanted to point out. Like yourself, I've been doing back and forth and copying content from both my local machine to the browser to update CSS and sometimes Liquid. There is one guy, Felix Schober, I think is his last name, that has released an extension for Portal apps, PowerApps Portal, sorry. It's an extension for VS Code where you can download all the assets that you have online to your local machine, make changes here, and then push them over to portals, to Dataverse backend. So this is something
Wow.
that I haven't tried myself, but it's really promising. I mean, it's just great stuff, not only to facilitate the development, but also to facilitate source control. So this is definitely something I'm gonna try in the next little while here. So yeah,
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. That's really great advice, and we should all strive towards version control and source control. Absolutely. So thank you for sharing that. That's a great asset.
so this is something I'm gonna look at. And then by the way that things are moving, I don't know when for certain and what's gonna be available, but it looks like there is an effort from Microsoft's Power Platform team to include a lot of this manual stuff that we do onto the CLI. So deployments between environments, moving content from one place to another. I would encourage everybody to stay tuned to what's comes next. So that's all I have to add for now. I don't think we have questions per se, but there is a lot of amazement in the in the chat window. If you want to review it later on, people are just blown away, with everything that you have shown. So I'm really grateful for the time that you have put into it, and then looking forward to next week's session as well. Thank you so much. Well, there is one hand up just because I said. There was
That's
one.
typical. That's
So
one
let's
person.
see who this is. Nor, if you want to unmute yourself and pose your question. And I think
Yeah.
following that, there is Manjunath also who wants to pose a question. So go for it, Nor, first.
Thank you so much, Ulrikke. This was an amazing session. Um, as you mentioned in the beginning that there is a link or some blog where we can see the hidden code snippets. If I'm
Yeah.
not-
Great. Thank you for letting me know, refreshing my memory because I would have forgotten about that. So thank you so much. I will include that in my resource link list for
Thank
you
you.
to have afterwards.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Awesome, Manujaf.
Thanks, Victor, and thanks, Ulrich, for great session on this advanced HTML and CSS related. I think I was having a two question. I think one, Noor has asked about that hidden content snippet shortcuts to see like how to get the information. And thanks for sharing that new translator that is CowTab. I really enjoyed that one. So my only question is like if something like if I'm working on some out of the box customized page like Azure B2C sign in page, so that's something like it always references to the default CSS of my Microsoft like portal theme.css. If tomorrow if I'm customized with my own custom theme, so will it is it causes any performance issues or like what I can say overriding with existing CSS?
No, not at all. The CSS adding your own CSS on top will not have any performance issues, as far as I know.
Yeah,
If
I
that
don't.
was answering the question.
Yeah, actually I faced something like that, and later I reverted because I was working on one of the portal application, and last minute changes that I have to change the default sign-in page of Azure B2C. I think I went as per Microsoft standard protocols what they're given. It went well, but later I tried to add my own CSS for a customized content and other stuff, but I couldn't get that chance. So let me try with this new SaaS. So hopefully I can fix my things.
Ah, good luck, and let us know how you're doing.
Yeah.
That's great stuff. And I have actually on the portal that I showed you that I also displayed on Falling to Portals. We are using Azure B2C login, and that customized the whole customized experience for the login page. So it's completely removed. It's not, it doesn't have anything to do with the sign-in page. So if you need some insight or some help with that, just reach out, and I'll share my code with you. No worries.
Thanks, Ulrich. Thanks for your support. And thanks, Victor. Thanks for this wonderful session.
No problem.
Thank
I
you.
think we have one more hand up. Nekdet.
Hi. Actually, I don't have any question. I just want to give a big thanks for organization, also for great presentation. But I want to have also some possibility on your blog page, Ulrike, follow by mail or LDS, and SS following possibility. I didn't see on your blog.
Oh, subscribe.
Yes.
Oh, right. Thank you. I haven't really thought about that. But of course, I'll look into that. Thank you. That's a that warms my heart. You want a subscribe option. Thank you. I will see that I can add that. Yeah. Thanks.
Thanks again for all.
Thank you so much.
All
It's a
right.
great honor presenting for you guys, and I'm so excited for next week. Do you know do you guys know what I'm gonna do next week? I'm gonna do some.
Yeah,
Have
I
you
got
told them,
an
Victor?
idea. Go for it. Yeah.
It's actually one of Nick Dolman's most hidden secrets. So he actually showed me how to combine portal types, you guys. So you know when you have that customer self-service site and you want to blog and you can't have it because it's for another portal type? Well, guess what? You can combine them. And I actually had to force him quite some extensively to make him share that with me, actually, how to do that. So I created a blog post about it, and I'm actually quite sure that it's on the Microsoft documentation for portals. If it's not out there, then it's probably coming pretty soon. But I'll show you step by step how we can combine two portal types.
That's nice. Nick is the gentle giant.
Oh, love
Love
Nick.
him. We have, I guess most of everyone knows here that Portals came from ADX Studio. ADX Studio was a Canadian company, so a lot of the guys that work on Portals will post about Portals. They live here in Canada. So yeah, it's one of Nick is one of the few professionals here that I really have this pleasure of call him as a friend. So it's really nice. Yeah, yeah, you're well connected, Ulrich.
Yeah, sure. So are you.
Well, thank you again. I can't wait to connect with you all next week and in the following weeks. I made an announcement the other day about an event that we were putting together. Myself, Diana. Oh man, I forgot her last name. I'm bad with names, so folks, please forgive me. I'll get better at this, I promise. But it's Diana, which I call the queen of PCF, and then Danish, I call him the king of PCF, and probably everybody hates my nicknames. I have called you the Captain Marvel of Portals. Don't hate me for that. But we are putting an event together for pro devs. It's a 3-day boot camp spread across 3 weeks. So every Saturday, depending on where you live, there will be a topic. We're starting with Pro Dev, Power Apps, and then Pro Dev PCF development, and finally Pro Dev Power Platform. And we are getting a lot of traction with Microsoft professionals who will do the keynotes, and Scott Duro, Ivan Fico, Tomas, a lot of the guys, right, presenting. If you haven't heard about it, you can hop on to events.powercommunity.com. Register. There'll be swag given away, and then the content of the sessions is amazing nonetheless. So I mean, I want to say that before we go. Anyhow, I'll see you next week. You guys stay safe, enjoy your weekend, and take care. Thank you so
Take
much.
care. Thank you so much.
Okay,
Bye
bye-bye.
now. Bye bye.